like this coming out of Southern California. Roads completely inundated by floodwaters from all the rain that fell yesterday. LAX, by the way, recorded its wettest Christmas Eve on record.
Los Angeles woke to a reality it was never supposed to face. A city built on sunshine, sprawl, and movement found itself frozen under rising water, flashing sirens, and gridlocked freeways. What began as steady rain quietly transformed into a full-scale emergency, overwhelming roads, neighborhoods, and infrastructure within hours. From flooded highways in the San Fernando Valley to submerged underpasses and darkened streets, the storm exposed a fragile underbelly beneath the city's familiar image. This was not an isolated weather event or a brief disruption. Scientists, emergency officials, and residents now agree on one unsettling truth. Los Angeles crossed a threshold, and the consequences are far from over. Chapter 1. The first signs of failure. The earliest warning signs arrived not as dramatic destruction, but as inconvenience. Traffic slowed, side streets flooded, detours replaced freeways as the 5 closed in both directions near Sun Valley. From helicopters overhead, water pooled across lanes that had carried millions of commuters just hours earlier. What looked manageable quickly spiraled. 3 days of relentless rainfall pushed drainage systems beyond capacity. Storm drains backed up. Water spilled onto streets faster than crews could respond. Residents filming from inside cars captured roads turning into rivers, headlights cutting through sheets of rain. The city's vast network of asphalt and concrete offered nowhere for the water to go. Instead, it rushed toward low points, underpasses, and aging infrastructure. Emergency calls surged, tow trucks stalled. First responders faced blocked routes and worsening conditions. This was no flash flood. It was sustained pressure, hour after hour, testing systems designed for a different climate era. By the time officials confirmed closures and issued warnings, the storm had already outpaced planning models. Los Angeles was no longer preparing, it was reacting. Chapter 2. A city submerged. As the rain intensified, entire neighborhoods felt the shift from disruption to disaster. Streets disappeared beneath murky water. Traffic signals flickered, then went dark. Vehicles stalled mid-intersection, abandoned as water climbed past doors. Viral footage showed families evacuating with only minutes to spare, carrying pets, bags, and children through waist-deep floodwater. In low-lying areas, sewage surged backward through drains, spilling onto streets and into homes. Sinkholes opened without warning, swallowing sections of roadway and exposing ruptured pipes below. News helicopters documented the scale from above. Freeways resembled canals. Residential blocks appeared frozen in brown water. For unhoused communities living beneath highways and bridges, the impact was immediate and devastating. Encampments were swept away as emergency resources strained to keep up. Shelters filled rapidly. Many had nowhere else to go. This was not confined to one district or income level. From modest apartments to affluent neighborhoods, the storm erased boundaries. Los Angeles, a city of contrasts, was united by the same threat. Water did not discriminate. It moved relentlessly, reshaping daily life in real time. Chapter 3. The science behind the storm. Scientists quickly identified the driver behind the catastrophe. A powerful atmospheric river, drawing immense moisture from the Pacific Ocean, stalled directly over Southern California. These narrow corridors of water vapor can transport volumes rivaling major rivers. When they linger, rainfall becomes relentless. According to atmospheric physicists, this event was amplified by saturated soils from earlier storms and a landscape hardened by years of drought. The ground simply could not absorb more water. Urban Los Angeles compounded the problem. Concrete surfaces accelerated runoff, funneling water toward storm channels already pushed beyond their design limits. Adding to the danger were hillsides scarred by recent wildfires. Without vegetation to stabilize soil, rain triggered mudslides and debris flows, particularly in hillside communities. Each factor intensified the next. Heavy rain fed runoff. Runoff overwhelmed infrastructure. Infrastructure failure magnified flooding. Experts described it as a compound disaster where multiple systems collapse simultaneously. This convergence is what made the storm so destructive. It was not just heavy rain. It was rain arriving at the worst possible moment, in the most vulnerable conditions, across an unprepared city. Chapter 4. Infrastructure under siege. Los Angeles' infrastructure, much of it built decades ago, buckled under the strain. Power substations flooded. Transmission lines sagged or sparked as water reached critical equipment. Hundreds of thousands lost electricity at the storm's peak. Crews struggled to restore service, blocked by impassable roads and rising water. Water and sewage systems fared no better. Pipes ruptured. Storm drains reversed flow. Contaminated runoff spread oil, chemicals, and waste into residential areas. The Los Angeles River, long confined by concrete, surged toward capacity, spilling debris and water into surrounding neighborhoods. Engineers watched systems fail faster than repairs could be made. Emergency protocols assumed isolated outages. Instead, everything failed at once. Communication networks faltered during blackouts, delaying alerts and evacuation orders. In some areas, warnings arrived too late. Officials admitted models underestimated how quickly conditions would deteriorate. Infrastructure once considered resilient proved fragile when exposed to prolonged extremes. The storm did not merely damage systems, it revealed structural weaknesses years in the making. Chapter 5. The human aftermath. Beyond the flooded streets and broken systems lay the human cost. Inside homes, water destroyed furniture, photographs, and irreplaceable memories. Businesses reopened only to face returning sewage and mold. Families crowded into shelters, schools, and community centers, uncertain when or if they could return. Children slept beneath donated blankets. Pets waited anxiously beside owners. For renters and those already living paycheck to paycheck, losses were absolute. Many emerged with nothing. Homeless residents were hit hardest. Tents, clothing, and supplies vanished overnight, leaving people exposed and displaced. Food banks and aid organizations saw demand spike to levels unseen in years. The psychological toll deepened with each passing day. Anxiety replaced routine. Fear lingered with every new weather alert. Residents scrolled through footage of their own neighborhoods, barely recognizable. The disaster rewired how the city saw itself. Places once considered safe were suddenly vulnerable. Trust in predictability eroded. Survival became the priority. Recovery, an uncertain path forward. Chapter 6. A new normal emerges. As waters slowly receded, a sobering realization took hold. This was not an anomaly. Scientists warn that warming oceans and shifting climate patterns are increasing the frequency and intensity of atmospheric rivers. Each storm raises the baseline risk for the next. Weaknesses exposed now become future failure points. Recovery will take months, possibly years. But rebuilding alone is not enough. Experts argue Los Angeles must rethink flood management, urban planning, and emergency communication from the ground up. That includes restoring natural floodplains, reinforcing infrastructure, stabilizing fire-scarred hillsides, and ensuring alerts reach everyone, especially the most vulnerable. Resilience is no longer optional. It is a requirement for survival. Adaptation must extend beyond engineering. It must include social support, equity, and community preparedness. The myth of invulnerability has collapsed. In its place stands a city forced to confront life alongside extremes. The question is no longer whether this will happen again. It is whether Los Angeles will be ready when it does. As evening falls, Los Angeles moves cautiously toward routine. Streets reopen. Cleanup crews work through debris. Power flickers back on. Children play near temporary shelters. Neighbors share supplies, stories, and silence. Yet beneath these moments of normalcy lies a lasting unease. This storm altered the city's memory. It proved that the unimaginable is now possible. Leaders promise new studies, stronger systems, and better preparation. Scientists analyze data. Emergency managers review failures. But the true test lies ahead. Preparation is not measured in reports, but in action taken before the next warning sounds. For many, recovery will be long and uncertain. For others, survival itself is the victory. The flood stands as a message written in water and loss, a reminder that adaptation cannot wait. Stay informed, stay connected, share your experience. Subscribe for critical updates as Los Angeles navigates an uncertain future. What lessons should guide rebuilding? What changes must come next? The answers may determine whether the cost of this disaster is ever paid again. If you want more real-world stories where science, climate, and human lives collide, like the video, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss what happens next.